sometimes I think I don't have a teacher certificate. You know, I cannot do this. I have no idea, right? I can do some writing and things along those lines, but when it comes to algebra 2 trig, I can say it and that's about it. That's pretty much where knowledge ends.
Good start.
So I'm just wondering, you know, how do you go about doing this?
Well, I'm going to give you a secret, ladies. So I have been teaching for 20 years, and I'm going to tell you something. I never finished the textbook with my students. Never. So that's one of the things that I know. And I talk to all my colleagues. Nobody finished the textbook from cover to cover. So when I had to do this with my own kids, I know that sometimes, even though the teachers say, you know, we all know that there is no way you can cover all the information that you want. And one thing that is important for me to remind myself is that just because we read information or we skim information, that does not mean education, and that keeps me grounded. So one of the things I do is I look at the big pictures. We go into what are you learning? What is the theme? What is the topic? What is the lesson? And one of the things I do is I try to enrich that. The good thing about enriching is that does not depend on me. I don't my children education does not end with me. I'm just the facilitator, and it's so good sometimes to go and just see what Netflix, Prime Video, YouTube people are creating. It's like, whoa, there's so much creativity going on. And so for me, that's the key. How can I enrich what my child is learning? And through the enrichment process, I realize my kids come up with their own ideas, their own projects, their own interests, and that is really, really helpful for me.
I love that, Kareem. I resonate with everything you're saying. And I have said to myself on more than one occasion, I didn't sign up to be the teacher. You know, when you're homeschooling 7 kids, you really did sign up to be the teacher. You just don't know it yet. And even if they're in traditional school, you still were the teacher at night. And for me, being the mother of 7 with the oldest of 22 and the youngest being 4, their college assignments coming home. You have to understand, we have pre-calculus going. We have algebra 1 going in here. We have geometry going in here. We have pre-algebra going on in here. We have a lot of math, science, English subjects going on in here. And I think to myself, and that's really when I'm in my rebellious stage, I say, I didn't sign up to be the teacher. But you know, I love what you said, Kareem. What I'm trying to teach is that you know how to learn. You may not be the master of pre-calculus, but I've taught you how to learn. And the same thing, my daughter has asked me to proofread some of her papers from college, and it's a topic that I'm totally not interested in, but I know how to learn. And I tell her, just like what you had to do to bring knowledge and understanding and a great paper from this topic, I too need the background to that information. And so helping my kids understand that it's okay. You don't have to have all the answers. And I love finding curriculums that make teaching easy. You know, there are math curriculums where you have a tutor with your math. There are Spanish curriculums where there's a lecture along with the chemistry. There are things that you can do to take the load off of you when it comes down to all of these subjects. And I love how you started off, Sandra. Some of these subjects are tough when you think about them, but when you think about the privilege you get to be able to tailor some of the support in education, then you can never lose. It's just finding the right person to teach it a way where you get it. And so it's not knowing everything. It's not the fact that you're the teacher, but it's the fact that you know how to learn. And that's the opportunity that we all have right here today.
I love that one, Esther. We actually, as parents, are a resource. We are not the only teacher that these kids have. We are teaching them, and we are just one of their resources. One of the things that I am helping people to understand is that when you find that great workbook, and let's say that you've gone someplace and somewhere somebody has given you a workbook, make a goal. Don't just open that workbook and say, okay, let's just work through this workbook for 30 minutes. Because when you just start going through pages, you're going to have different concepts that go through that 30 minutes. And you don't want to do that. You want to make a goal, and you want to make a tangible goal. So let's work on this one concept and be successful. end it on a success. Always end on a success. Even if you just get through 2 pages. If you're successful, let's end it. Be successful. You always want the kids to be successful. The second thing too is that it is not a race. It is not a race. There is no timeline. You can work on the same concept for 2 weeks, and if your kid is struggling, you just keep pressing on and you keep working on it. You know, if you're introducing a new concept, remember, the goal is mastery. And so therefore, if they don't get it in 2 weeks, you keep going. And all of a sudden the light bulb will go off. And when it does, it is a success on your part and the child's part. And so it's a race. And just remember that you keep going until you have a success and your child has a success.
Michelle, I really like the way you're pointing out to the freedom that you are expressing in your way that you're guiding your kids. And I think we can forget that as we have the privilege of directing the education of our kids, we also get the freedom of choosing a lot of things that might not fit inside what the box of what we went through in our education, or maybe even in the box that your kids were fitting into in a more traditional school environment. But you can also go with what they love, like Kareem was alluding to. And some people call that delight-directed education. And so for a couple examples in our family was our oldest daughter has always been passionate about animals. So I didn't feel constrained to stick with the typical science that might be the normal pattern, because I wanted her to be able to dive into science and love science. So we went into zoology, maybe instead of some of the more traditional things that general science or physical science or things that other people might have felt that they needed to do. And that was a huge opportunity for her, but not just with subjects, but also too with her opportunities. So we chose to find opportunities to create internships where she could shadow veterinarians, where she could go and volunteer at the zoo. Those kinds of things were opportunities for us to capitalize on things that she loved. And that's education. That didn't fit inside any textbook or anybody else's plan. That was an education that was basically driven by what delighted her. We also did that with our middle son. We had this opportunity to travel in between a remodel and a house that got sold. And so we said, forget the basic science that you're taking online. He loved videography. So the whole trip, we had him vlog and video and post on YouTube and create these amazing videos. He loved it. We got a record of our trip, which was really nice. And it's informed his career. Now he's majoring in that in college. So it's just great to capitalize on that freedom to join with your kids and how God has made them and really let them shine. And that's, sometimes people call that delight-directed learning, and we love that.
Wow, I'm just awed by all these ideas and the fact that they are and they can be implemented, in whether or not you're going to continue to school at home or, in the philosophy of how you're going to approach your child. So I really love these takeaways. I mean, for us, the one really big thing for us every day is to read aloud. And so it's just sort of family time. It's still a little chilly. So if you can imagine us, we're all in the family room. We have a fire roaring, kids are sitting by and my husband is reading. And it's just this gold time. And so I can still do my work. So I'm present and I'm with the family. And, we're hearing these words and maybe we don't understand, everything that's going along. But I think that the kids, now that they're used to this happening, they love it. And so when we say, oh, daddy's going to read now, they stop doing whatever they were doing. And then we all gather together and it's a really special time. So kind of during this pandemic time, this is sort of something that we're going to keep going. Even after our lives resume, we're going to have this family reading and read aloud time. So I just find that so amazing. And just the fact that you have been able to see your children, all of you ladies, do something different and go in a direction that they're interested in, that's something that I'm going to take away for myself.